Welcome to the Dream Bowl at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. A look inside the locker room of the all-time Dallas Cowboys and number 12, Hall of Famer Roger Staubach. His opponent tonight is Ben Roethlisberger and the all-time Pittsburgh Steelers. Big Ben came into the league by storm, winning the 2004 Offensive Rookie of the Year award, followed by Super Bowl titles in 2005 and 2008. He quickly earned the title as the greatest quarterback in franchise history, and now, after a tremendous playoff run, Big Ben is in position to earn the Steelers the coveted title as the greatest franchise in NFL history. But standing in their way is the NFL's all-time leading rusher, Emmitt Smith, Olympic gold medalist and Super Bowl champion Bob Hayes, and a ferocious defense headlined by Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. The two greatest franchises in NFL history meet tonight in Indianapolis. Dream Bowl 8 between Pittsburgh and Dallas. Kickoff of the biggest game of the season is coming up next.
Pittsburgh, PA. The blue-collar city is black and yellow, both immaculate and terrible. From the steel curtain to the catch. It's always been about winning. One move. These are the Steelers. In Dallas, good guys wear a star. From Landry's doomsday defense to the triplets creating a dynasty of their own. Like Captain Comeback, they play as heroes. These are the Cowboys.
The all-time rosters franchise championship game. We bring you to the Dream Bowl in Indianapolis, featuring the two greatest franchises in NFL history. Five-time world champion Dallas, first on the field. They are winners of 8 NFC titles. The 6-time Super Bowl champions and the 8-time AFC champion Pittsburgh Steelers join the Cowboys as the two greatest franchises of all time. Nick Rice, Phil Nunziata in our halftime studios, Hank Cinnamon, for the biggest game of the year. It's the Steelers and the Cowboys in Indianapolis. The opening return to the 20 for Antonio Brown. He beat out 4-time Super Bowl champion Terry Bradshaw for the starting quarterback position, and Phil, Big Ben Roethlisberger has been one of the best things going for this franchise in the playoffs.
Well, partner, for the 8th time, we're going to sit here and find out who is the best team and what a matchup we have today. Two of the most decorated teams in pro football going at it one last time for all the marbles.
And Big Ben, the NFL's 5th all-time leading passer, will launch it down the field and is nearly picked off on the first play of the game. His all-time Steelers offense, 11th in scoring this year with a Hall of Fame duo of Antonio Brown and John Stallworth. Heath Miller, John Henry Johnson, and Franco Harris lead the way for a very talented Pittsburgh offense in the biggest game of the year, Dream Bowl 8 in Indianapolis. The Steelers with 19 Hall of Fame inductees, a phenomenal franchise of the AFC. Roethlisberger is taken down to the line by number 54, Randy White. He leads the way for a Cowboys defense that joins DeMarcus Ware, Chuck Howley, Mel Renfro, and Deion Sanders.
Yeah, just all-stars all over the field, all-stars, Pro Bowlers, world champions, whatever you want to call it. You can't look without finding one of those guys, and it's really going to make this game one to remember.
Roethlisberger back on 3rd and 10, completes it to John Stallworth, who breaks a tackle. First down, Pittsburgh on a gain of 12.
Well, this is a very offense that can come at you a bunch of different ways, very versatile, whether it be Big Ben running the football, the guys in the backfield, or these quick hits like this with a broken tackle for a first down right there. And the Steelers can come at you in so many different ways. After the sack from Ben earlier in this drive, to get a first down is huge.
Bell, the back at the 32, as Roethlisberger drops. Under duress, he looks and throws this one out of bounds. The all-time Steelers are led by four-time Super Bowl champion Chuck Noll. Look at him, head coach for 23 years in Pittsburgh, helping guide the dynasty of the 70s, and is as good as any coach ever. You know, you talk about Bill Belichick, Don Shula, these great coaches. Chuck Noll is right in that mix.
Absolutely, the orchestrator of the Steel Curtain defense in the 70s, as you mentioned, and now he's here to coach some of the more modern players, a more sophisticated offense, and we'll see how that can work in the biggest game.
Chuck Noll faced Tom Landry twice in the Super Bowl during the 70s, head coach for 29 years in Dallas from 1960 to 1988. Jimmy Johnson, a great coach too, but Tom Landry, greatest coach in Dallas history.
Absolutely, just an icon of the league and really a figurehead in its formative years, and just one of the guys that you said they love Jimmy Johnson here in Dallas, but you really can't talk about him without talking about the guy that came first.
Four-man Dallas rush. On third down, it's a completion to Le'Veon Bell on the sideline, which won't do much. Fourth down coming up.
Trying to get Le'Veon Bell in space right there out of the flat. Great job by this Dallas defense to corral him short of the first down mark.
Pittsburgh Steelers running backs led by Franco Harris and the bust Jerome Bettis, followed by three-time Pro Bowler Le'Veon Bell and 1946 NFL MVP Bill Dudley. John Henry Johnson is their lead fullback. The Jordan Berry punt is deep but returnable for Deion Sanders, who coughs up the football, and Andy Russell recovers at the 25, breaks an Everson Walls tackle, and is in for a Pittsburgh touchdown.
I don't know that I've ever seen Deion Sanders fumble a punt return like that. That is a first for these eyeballs, and heads up there by Russell to scoop it and score it. Had to break multiple tackles on his way to the end zone, and that is a huge momentum shift from the Steelers defense and special teams.
He was acquired by way of a trade from the Dolphins in 2019. Minkah Fitzpatrick with a big play punching the ball out on special teams. Number 34, Andy Russell, scoops and scores. He is one of the more fascinating players on this franchise. He missed the first part of his career in the 60s by serving in the military. Not really a problem from today's players, but Russell joined them, won a couple Super Bowls in the 70s for Chuck Noll and the Steelers, a 7-time Pro Bowler, and a great player who makes a big play to begin this game. Sanders the return, and he is dumped at the 22, and Sanders is hurt.
Yeah, slow to get up is Deion Sanders. A rough 2 touches of the football for Deion.
And this isn't looking good at all. Deion Sanders getting carted off. I mean, he was one of the headline players coming into the game, Phil. Really tough to see him out right now.
It makes you wonder, Nick, if there was a lingering injury that maybe wasn't publicized. Like I mentioned, Deion never fumbles, and for him to turn right around on another return and get hit like that, usually that's stuff he pops right up for. When you see the card, it's never good. We'll have to wait on the full injury report, but not what you want. Rough couple plays there for Dallas.
The NFL's all-time leading rusher, Emmitt Smith. Most carries, most yards, and most touchdowns in the history of the game. 8-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, and an MVP back in 1993. He certainly should be a big part of this offense tonight. He is in the block on 2nd and 4 after his short gain, and Staubach throws this one out of bounds.
I'm still a little shaken up here, Nick, to be honest with you, about that Deion Sanders injury. Just out of any ways that he could have impacted this game, I don't know that we thought this was going to be one of them.
And he's one of the best players in the history of the game. He was a Hall of Fame all-decade teamer at returner and at corner. That's just how good he was. Incomplete there, Rod Woodson on the coverage.
And it makes you wonder where Dallas is going to fill in for Deion, both on the defensive backfield, the little bit of receiver that he tends to play, and in the return game. That's 3 big holes after that pass falls incomplete that Deion creates not being on this football team.
He was the first player in NFL history to catch a pass as a listed cornerback in a Super Bowl, and that was Super Bowl 10 against Pittsburgh. before we continue, let's check out how the Steelers made it to the Dream Bowl. Me and Phil were here for the AFC Championship game in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers scored 27 unanswered points to rout the Raiders. Pittsburgh's Troy Polamalu with the big play late in the third on a pick six of Ken Stabler, and the Steelers rout 30-10.
Yeah, just a secondary masterclass there by Pittsburgh in that AFC Championship game. Multiple interceptions, could have had more. We talked about plenty during that game, and just if they can replicate that today, this will be a good day for Pittsburgh.
John Stallworth beating the backup corner on that play. First down in front of Mel Renfro. That is John Stallworth. There you can see Renfro letting him go, and Stallworth with the first down.
Pittsburgh has all the momentum here between the injury, the fumble, to get the touchdown on the defensive special teams like that. They don't have to do a whole lot here if they can just keep this momentum. And it looks like we're going to get an injury update for Deion Sanders from Hank here in a second.
Yep, down to the third member of our crew, Hank Cinnamon.
Hey, thanks, Nick. This is Hank with the injury report to Deion Sanders, who will be out with a herniated disc. This will hurt the defense and special teams for the Dallas Cowboys. Hopefully they can go forward. Back to you, Nick and Phil.
Thank you very much, Hank. A brutal injury, a herniated disc in his back, out for not only the Dream Bowl, but certainly an injury where he has no chance to come back from. Huge loss for Dallas.
Yeah, that is forget this game, and it's hard to say that when it's the biggest game of all time, but that is a career-altering injury there for Deion Sanders as Dallas gets the sack here on Big Ben.
Mel Renfro and Everson Walls are the new corners for this defense, as Roethlisberger's taken down for a sack. Ed Too Tall Jones at 6'9", 270 pounds with the big play.
And if Dallas is going to stay in this game, they need more plays like this, hidden behind everything that we've been talking about. They've been getting to Roethlisberger early and often, and more of that is going to keep this offense at bay.
Last week against the Raiders, Jordan Berry pinned a punt at the 2-yard line. This one taken to the 20 by the new return man, Bob Hayes, one of the fastest players in the history of the NFL. Roger Staubach, one of the most successful quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, sixth in passing with 3,504 yards, 19 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. He beat out 3-time Super Bowl champion Troy Aikman and a 4-time Pro Bowler Tony Romo for the starting quarterback position for this franchise. Emmitt Smith wrapped up at the line by T.J. Watt. Look at the top 5 offense in football this year with Jason Witten as their player to watch. He joins Emmitt Smith, Dom Perkins, Bob Hayes, and Drew Pearson.
It's really a testament to Jason Witten to be the highlighted player amongst all those Hall of Famers and all-time greats. His ability to just get open, find that open spot downfield, sit there and wait for the catch is a big asset for this Cowboys offense.
A big asset out of the receiving game, Emmitt Smith, coupled with his running ability, a showcase of one of the best players of all time. He's got a Dallas first.
Yeah, Captain America swings this one out to Emmitt Smith, and if you can get him in the open field and follow his blockers, that's going to be a first down every time. Look for him to go back to that a few more times in this drive.
They'll go back to him running the ball, and he's got a big seam at the 50, and is spilled by Butler at the 38 of Pittsburgh.
He's clearly going to be their bell cow in this game, use him in a bunch of different ways. We saw the screen pass, and then right up the middle from this all-time great offensive line, breaking a few tackles and picking up a big first down on the ground.
He finished the season top 5 in the league in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, and behind him is another Hall of Famer, the NFL's 10th all-time leading rusher, Tony Dorsett. Deep ball to Jason Witten. A first look at the Hall of Famer from Tennessee, gain of 22.
Big catch, and taking the hit there is Jason Witten. A little bit deeper of a route that he's typically running in this offense, but he takes the best of that opportunity, takes that hit deep down the field, holds on to it. Big first down for the Cowboys on their first red zone trip of the game.
Only Tony Gonzalez has more receiving yards by tight end than Jason Witten in NFL history. Staubach on a deep drop will close the first quarter with a completion to Bob Hayes. Let's check out, before we go to the break, a look at the all-time Steelers, the best scoring defense, the best total defense, and the best red zone defense in the game, led by 2010 Defensive Player of the Year, Troy Polamalu. We've played a quarter of the Dream Bowl in Indy. All-time Steelers lead it 7-0 at the end of one. We're back for more right after this. Welcome back to Indianapolis. Nick Rice, Phil Nunziata, and in our sideline and halftime studios, Hank Cinnamon. All-time Steelers on an Andy Russell touchdown, lead by 7. Incomplete, and Owens took a shot. Third down coming up.
Yeah, tried to sneak that one into a very narrow window. Owens getting his hands on the ball here, but with James Harrison there slapping it away and then taking the hit from Polamalu afterwards, he's going to be feeling that one.
Terrell Owens, Bob Hayes, Drew Pearson, Des Bryant, and C.D. Lamb join Tony Hill as the receivers for this offense. No Michael Irvin, who's out with a herniated disc. Into the end zone, incomplete, and that Steelers defense bends, but it doesn't break.
The Steelers trying to keep that interception party going they started in the AFC Championship game. Just a step too low on that one, but Polamalu still getting his hand on the ball and disrupting the pass.
Brandon Aubrey, who set the league by storm in 2023.
False start, offense, repeat, 4th down.
For the field goal, a false start up front on Hall of Famer Rayfield Wright. He began his NFL career, did Brandon Aubrey, with an NFL record 35 made field goals in a row. This one a chip shot from 36, and it's good.
That extra distance by the penalty, not a problem for Aubrey, as now the Cowboys get on the board, and now that cuts that deficit to just 4 points.
This is a rematch of 3 Super Bowls that have been played in the NFL's rich history. Super Bowl 10 that the Steelers won, led by Lynn Swann. Super Bowl 13, led by Terry Bradshaw. And Super Bowl 30, won by Larry Brown and the Cowboys. Those all-time Cowboys in this game after a win in overtime against San Francisco in the NFC title, as Roger Staubach threw for over 300 yards. San Francisco at a season-low 175 yards, and Dallas won it 16-13. A much more dramatic playoff run for the Cowboys than the breeze that the Steelers have won their 2 AFC playoff games by a combined 55 points. Franco Harris gains 3, and an injury here to linebacker number 55, Leroy Jordan.
You mentioned that we've seen this movie before as far as the Cowboys and Steelers in a Super Bowl together. Showing that NFC Championship game really reminds me how many times that we've seen Dallas and San Francisco battle it out for that NFC crown.
Penn State legend Franco Harris off and running for Pittsburgh. He took a big shot from White, but gains 48 on the play.
I think he actually fumbled the ball on that last hit. It's a moot point because it did go out of bounds, but he breaks that one tackle as the safety comes up to try and make that hit in the hole, and when that doesn't work, it is nothing but green grass in front for Harris.
He did indeed fumble the ball at the end, Phil, but luckily for them, it wasn't the game's first turnover, and a huge gain on the play. Hank Cinnamon is reporting the injuries tonight, and he's got more on linebacker Leroy Jordan. Hank?
Hey, Nick. Another injury in this game. Leroy Jordan is probable with a pinched nerve. That could be tough. We'll look at this going forward and see how he does. Back to you, Nick and Phil.
Well, we all know the all-time Cowboys defense is loaded with Hall of Famers, so injuries aren't going to hurt them in the short term, but you got to think any more guys go down, and they may have a much tougher time, Phil, to stopping guys like Franco Harris tonight.
Especially, and he just put all of his moves on display here. First, we got a stiff arm right in the hole, followed by a small leap over a downed player, and he's just showing off everything on this drive. But yeah, the more injuries, they all seem to be on defense at the moment for the Cowboys, and while there are offensive juggernauts and defensive stars behind these players, that's what makes the DSFL so great. It's not the way they practice this, and you might see that be an issue down the line.
Down Leroy Jordan, the Cowboys' number 2 linebacker beside Micah Parsons. is two-time Pro Bowler Sean Lee, and he faced his fair share of injuries in his day, missing 68 games during the 2010s, including all of 2014 with a torn ACL. On second down, they'll toss it to the bus, and there's Sean Lee to make the tackle.
Sean Lee, another Penn State legend after we mentioned Franco Harris, and he flattened the tires on that bus, shooting right through that gap and getting him in the backfield, a place he is not used to being.
At north of 250 pounds, those tires on the bus don't get popped very easily, and he went down with ease on that play. 3rd and 12, and Roethlisberger was lucky to get the ball away. The pressure from George Andrew, incomplete.
Looks like he was looking for Antonio Brown on that play. Did not have enough time. Did get rid of the ball, so it's not a sack, but nowhere near the level to complete that pass as the Steelers line up for a field goal.
Sean Sweesom converted 83% of his kicks in the regular season and converts his first of the Dream Bowl. The all-time Cowboys and the all-time Steelers, a combined 37 members of the Hall of Fame, along with 11 Super Bowl titles and 72 NFL playoff wins. These are two of the greatest in the history of the game, meeting tonight in Indianapolis. Cowboys have been ravaged with injuries this season and injuries tonight. But before then, in Week 16, a big one out of the division, Michael Irvin against Philadelphia herniated his disc as well and has missed the remainder of the year. Then 1 week later in East Rutherford, Hall of Famer Rayfield Wright tore his hamstring against the Giants, adding to the slew of injuries for the Dallas franchise. No Deion Sanders tonight. Leroy Jordan with that pinched nerve, as mentioned by Hank Cinnamon. Really a lot of guys going down at the most inopportune of time for Dallas. Emmitt Smith has been healthy all season. They'll fake it to him on a first down. Deep ball to Witten, who makes the catch. Officials come in to discuss it, and they say incomplete.
I think that's the correct call. Clearly made the catch, but we'll get a better look at this here. And yeah, that neither foot inbounds for that. So that's a good call there by the officials. You mentioned all these injuries, Nick, to jump on that point. It makes it even more impressive that they've made it this far, without really missing a beat. Obviously, their playoff games have been smaller margins of victory than, say, Pittsburgh. But to get here with all of that adversity throughout the season is extremely commendable.
To get here, they knocked out 13-time world champion Green Bay in a comeback and defeated 6-time Super Bowl champion San Francisco in overtime. Really an incredible playoff run for Dallas. He needed the final game of the season to clinch a playoff spot. Incomplete pass to Jason Witten, and not too often those two are not on the same page.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is what Jason Witten does. He finds that open spot in the field. Looks like he threw it behind him or he didn't turn around quick enough. I'm not totally sure which one, but a little bit of miscommunication there on that third down.
The NFL's leading punt average punter in 2006 and 2010. Deep to send it away, Matt McBriar. Antonio Brown retrieves it at the 20-yard line on a punt of 48 and a return of 7. Tackle from Dexter Coakley. As these two franchises, as mentioned, meeting 3 times in the Super Bowl, you certainly are familiar with big playoff games, big regular season games, and being two of the best almost every year in the NFL. Pittsburgh and Dallas have been the crowning mark of excellence in the National Football League. Franco Harris stuffed to the line of scrimmage, the tackle from Randy White.
As we get to about the 4-minute mark here in the second quarter, I did not have the biggest play of this game on my bingo card being a special teams play, but that is where we sit here as we near halftime.
A 25-yard return touchdown from Andy Russell. Roethlisberger to a wide-open Lynn Swann. Not quite the big catch in Super Bowl X against Dallas, but a big one nonetheless tonight, a gain of 37.
It could be just as effective if they end this half with a scoring drive, and that gets them way past midfield and are flirting with another red zone trip.
Lynn Swann with 161 yards and a Super Bowl X win and an MVP performance in that game against Dallas. Played in the Orange Bowl in Miami. Roethlisberger is hit as he throws, and that is tipped away by Cornell Green.
That was late and off target and took way too long to develop. That was a risk that Roethlisberger didn't really need to take, and that was maybe the best outcome of it just falling incomplete.
Very nearly his first interception thrown in the playoffs. Roethlisberger with time flips it out of bounds to John Henry Johnson. I mean, these receivers don't seem to be on the same page as Roethlisberger right now, which is a rarity, as Pittsburgh has plenty of talent out there to catch the football. Cowboys bring 5. Out cut to a wide-open Hines Ward, the all-time leading receiver in Steelers history, is the 4-time Pro Bowler out of Georgia, Hines Ward.
Hines Ward, no stranger to big moments in Super Bowls. Everyone remembers his toe-tap catch against the Arizona Cardinals, and he's looking to make his mark on this game, starting with this drive.
Not to mention the touchdown pass he had in Super Bowl 40 against Seattle in 2005. John Stallworth with a first down catch, a gain of 12.
Pittsburgh's moving here. They have over 2 minutes, so they're going to get the 2-minute warning timeout. They have 3 others. They can really operate this at whatever pace they want. They're looking good right now.
John Stallworth, Antonio Brown, Hines Ward, Lynn Swann, and Lewis Lips join Santonio Holmes as the receivers for this offense. Hines Ward with the catch, and Dallas calls timeout.
Yeah, you mentioned Hines Ward, no stranger, having the touchdown in the Arizona game, and then the one where he's thrown to from Antoine Randall L. versus Seattle. So no stranger to touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Let's see if he gets one here as they get down to the 1-yard line.
Pittsburgh this season converted 42% of their third downs and are at 2 for 5 at 40% today. They don't run the ball with Jerome Bettis. Interesting decision, and the Steelers settle for the field goal.
Can someone check if Pete Carroll's on the sideline for Pittsburgh? That's a very head-scratching move here, and that kind of kills some of the momentum that Pittsburgh could have had here.
I mean, if there's one guy to run at the goal line, it is the bus. Sean Sweesom drills the field goal. And let's check out the numbers today from Pittsburgh. We've got to be a little frustrated. They are dominating the Cowboys on the box score, but only lead by 10 after the field goal.
Absolutely. They've left some points on the field, and you mentioned, Jerome Bettis, a great option in that moment. Even if you decide to go with Le'Veon Bell, we've talked about before, one of the more patient runners in the history of this game could have probably squeezed in to get that extra yard. Out of all the options they could have had there, that's probably the most head-scratching one they could have gone with.
Down Deion Sanders, Bob Hayes with the return. The Cowboys superstars have been a little quiet tonight. Roger Staubach just 3 for 9. He came into the game completing 62% of his throws. Emmitt Smith, the NFL's all-time leading rusher, 35 yards on just 4 carries. Makes you wonder why they haven't featured him more in this offense.
Absolutely, and if this passing game isn't going to click for them, I wonder if they're going to try and use Roger Staubach more as a runner in the second half or even in this drive, as he's able to make plays with his feet.
He'll launch it deep to Bob Hayes. Incomplete with Donnie Shell in the coverage. Was that a drop or was that a deflection? A little underthrown. It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little catchable, but definitely underthrown. Granted, that was very far down the field. It's not like he could have led him much more than that, I think, with his arm strength. But definitely a missed opportunity there for Dallas.
The all-time leading yard per game receiver in Dallas history is C.D. Lamb, but they throw it underneath him to Jason Witten for a gain of 14 and a first down. Lamb joining Terrell Owens, Drew Pearson, and Bob Hayes out wide out right now, but really it's Jason Witten who's doing all the damage tonight.
A good friend of mine once said, when in doubt, you got to Witten it out, and that's what they're going to do to move these chains until someone else can step up and make a play.
Deep ball to Witten again, and another first down. The Steelers may want to cover that guy with an extra defender, and with a little over a minute to go in the half, Staubach will hurry them to the line. Deep shot to Bob Hayes again, who's wide open, but it's incomplete.
I wasn't sure if he caught it or not, but I do think he went out of bounds before the pass even got to him, so that would have resulted in a penalty, if anything else. But yeah, Jason Witten just carving up this defense with this route running here, and he's finding all the open spots as he's known to do. And if they can keep getting him the ball, this offense may really get to turn this around in this drive and the second half.
Nobody has played in more games, caught more passes for more yards in the history of the Cowboys than Jason Witten, 11-time Pro Bowler. Another deep ball to Hayes, and man, they are about an inch away again from a big pass play to Bob Hayes.
Let's see, this one, I think he holds onto it, but he's got one foot on the chalk, and the other one doesn't come down until it's in the white. So yeah, that's the great shot too by our camera crew. But yeah, they see something that they like there on the deep post with Bob Hayes, but they're not quite connecting with it.
Blitz. Staubach hit as he throws. A wide open Pearson, this time inbounds for the gain of 20. First grab of the day for the Hall of Famer out of Tulsa. Staubach under duress, and he is dumped by the 2008 Defensive Player of the Year, James Harrison. Second and 18, under 50 seconds left, into the end zone for Hayes, and it is caught, but yet again out of bounds.
Just not where he wants to be. He catches this one in his back pocket, but that is the third time his feet don't agree with him here. And if the Cowboys can somehow score on this drive and only be down 3 at the half, I think that's a win for them.
Well, it looks like they're going to settle for the 7, and Pittsburgh calls timeout, as Brandon Aubrey will try this one from 44 yards away. Hold from Troy Aikman, and Aubrey hits it with room to spare. Pittsburgh late in the half leads Dallas 13-6. Look at that placement again from Aikman in the made field goal. It should be noted the all-time Cowboys will receive the opening kickoff of the second half. So while they didn't get the touchdown they wanted, certainly may pay dividends if they can score to begin the third. Let's check out the top players from the Steelers offense in this first half. Roethlisberger 8 of 16 for 104 yards. But it's been the running game led by the Hall of Famer from Penn State, Franco Harris, 65 yards on 6 carries.
Yeah, Franco Harris early in this game really got things going, jumped all the things he has in his arsenal to try and carve some points out here for Pittsburgh.
Jerome Bettis, 8th on the all-time NFL rushing list. He's the deep back on first down. They'll give it to him at the 14. He hurdles a defender at the 30, and there goes Bettis down to the 41.
That was an impressive run, but I think being able to tackle Bettis at full speed in the open field is equally as impressive. That may have been a touchdown-saving tackle.
He had some underrated speed and athleticism to his game, did the 250-pounder. And on first down, they'll find Brown over the middle, and Pittsburgh will exhaust its final timeout.
So you're going to think here, you're going to look for a similar, what a route there by Antonio Brown, cutting in the middle of the field, right on the logo, so we're right at midfield. You're going to assume here with no timeouts, only 18 seconds, they're going to look deep to medium and to the outside near the sideline so they can stop the clock and maybe get in field goal range.
Roethlisberger is going to take his shot into the end zone here, a bit underthrown and incomplete. Certainly not the worst performance tonight from Dallas' secondary, considering they are down Deion Sanders.
I think that's a great point. I think it's an important note on that last pass, though. Starworth nearly came down with that. I don't know that they would have gotten up there to clock it, and it might have been a moot point, but nearly a catch there by Starworth as he makes this one, and it looks like we might be going to the half.
Yeah, they're not going to run another play, so we've hit intermission here. Pittsburgh dominating the stat sheet, but the field goals are really hurting them as we hit the half in Indianapolis. It's the Dream Bowl. All-time Steelers lead this one 13-6.
Hey, this is Hank with the halftime recap for this Super Bowl between the all-time great Steelers and the all-time great Cowboys. The score is 13-6 at halftime after an Andy Russell return for a touchdown. Deion Sanders fumbles it, and that helps the Steelers get on the board quickly. The Steelers had a great ball control offense. With time of possession, the Steelers have 10 minutes and 17 seconds. The Cowboys with 5 minutes and 43 thanks to the running game and Franco Harris. Cowboys struggled on third down here. They led the league converting 46% of their third down conversions. Here they're 1 for 5, that's 20%. More red zone miscues. There have been 3 red zone drives tonight that have ended in field goals, so they're not getting into the end zone. That's a tough situation for both teams here. And now for the first of Hank's heroes, Steelers linebacker Andy Russell with 1 touchdown and a 25-yard fumble return for a touchdown. That is the only touchdown that we have in this game for both of these teams. And he plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. On the Dallas Cowboys end, my Hank's hero is Jason Witten. 4 receptions for 61 yards, leading the Cowboys in receiving. Who better to do it than a future Hall of Fame tight end in Jason Witten? And now to look at the halftime stats in this Dream Bowl between the all-time great Steelers and the all-time great Cowboys. Ben Roethlisberger has been very efficient today, as has Franco Harris with over 6 yards per carry. On the other hand, the Cowboys need to do more to get back in this one. Back to you, Nick and Phil.
The all-time rosters franchise championship game. Steelers lead 13-6. And Phil, the Steelers are dominating the Cowboys on the stat sheet tonight.
They really are, and for them to weather this storm, weather the injuries, and to come out in the second half only down 7 points, getting the football, this could, in theory, be tied up after this drive. So the Cowboys not in the worst spot they could be, despite the dominance by the Steelers.
Yeah, the Steelers, as mentioned at the half, outpossessing the Cowboys almost 2 minutes to every 1 minute. Really a dominant performance all the way around. Steelers more first downs, fewer turnovers, and the rest. Roethlisberger more passing yards as well. And for the Cowboys, they've got to be excited on this drive, knowing the opportunity to get right back into the game.
Yeah, absolutely, and we just saw the quarterback comparison there. Not a huge difference in quarterback play. It's been other spots, the running game, special teams that have kept Pittsburgh ahead at this point.
Yeah, come to think of it, that Andy Russell scoop and score, Hank's hero of the half, really the big difference in this one tonight. If he doesn't fumble, does Dion, we have a completely different game. Second sack from that defense tonight, and it's courtesy of T.J. Watt, the 2021 Defensive Player of the Year.
Absolutely huge sack there. Could be a drive killer there by T.J. Watt.
Down Rayfield right, the Cowboys are starting right tackle Flozell Adams to join Zach Martin, Travis Frederick, Larry Allen, and Tyron Smith as the starters on offensive line. Incomplete, Staubach now just 8 for 19 throwing the football tonight.
I hate to play the what-if game because it's not very productive, but you mentioned, what if Deion Sanders doesn't fumble? If he doesn't fumble, he's not immediately taking the next kick return. He maybe doesn't get injured in that spot, and we're looking at a whole nother game. But another what-if for you, what would it take for Russell to walk away with Super Bowl MVP for that scoop and score?
Certainly the first on the bingo card. So back in Week 13, the Steelers won against Cincinnati despite losing their quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, and not scoring a single offensive touchdown. It's the only game where they did not score any touchdowns on offense throughout all the regular season and all the playoffs. Pittsburgh has an opportunity to do the exact same thing and win the game tonight, as Andy Russell's the only one to find the end zone.
Potential Super Bowl MVP Andy Russell if this keeps up. But yes, to your point, it's proven that they've won that way before, and they could potentially do it again if necessary.
Look at Ben Roethlisberger's numbers tonight, 138 yards. He was one of those 3 quarterbacks taken in 2004 in the first round, joining Phillip Rivers to the Chargers and Eli Manning to the Giants. And Roethlisberger gets a little bit underlooked because of the fact that Pittsburgh won those Super Bowls with the defense and the special teams. But Franco Harris here running the ball joins Ben Roethlisberger as a great offense.
I mean, they all count the same in the history books. It's not how you win, it's if you win. So if it's the run game and the defense, I think if you ask Ben even now, he'd say so be it.
Jerome Bettis into the game, former first-round pick of the Rams, but a Super Bowl champion with Pittsburgh, and down he goes. It's a cornerback with a tackle, Everson Walls.
Everson Walls with a huge play there to stop him in his tracks in the backfield or right at the line of scrimmage. Not usually something that can happen with Jerome Bettis.
They'll feed it to him again, and Bettis goes down. Credit linebacker Micah Parsons for shooting the gap and slowing him down.
Absolutely. Micah Parsons, another Penn State legend. They're all over the field here tonight. Gets in the backfield, blows that one up, and then Woodson there to finish the job. And just a huge, great play recognition there by Micah Parsons.
Many great Penn State legends on display tonight. And after the run from Bettis, Sean Sweeson hits the field goal, and Pittsburgh leads 16-6.
Makes this a two-possession game for Pittsburgh. If they can keep at this pace and just play smart, you know, that we mentioned, they have no problem winning that way. We're going to need to see some big plays out of Dallas, and they're going to need to start right now.
Mel Renfro, Hall of Famer out of Oregon on the return. And he's spilled at the 21. Let's check out tonight's numbers. Steelers with 101 yards more than the Cowboys. I mean, they are dominating the game. And for Dallas, you look at the numbers on their offensive end, they have had a hard time establishing much on the ground considering they've trailed a majority of the game. They'll try and establish the run here. Smith breaks a tackle and picks up 15 on the first down.
And, you know, another highlight stat there that jumped out at me is they've been abysmal on third down, 1 for 6 so far. So they can get more plays like this and avoid those third down and longs, maybe improve that stat a little bit. That's going to be very helpful as well.
What's amazing is they were the best third down offense in football all year. At the 35, Staubach looks, guns it to Jason Witten again. Boy, Super Bowl MVP may be in the balance again with Jason Witten playing like this.
Yeah, if Dallas is able to turn this around, he's at the top of my bingo card, absolutely. Right up the seam after not being jammed at the line of scrimmage, so he's able to spring loose and a huge play down the field as Dallas is just outside the red zone setting up shop.
Mel Blount in there for the tackle. That Pittsburgh defense is the best in the league this year, and it's really to no big surprise. They have a total of 11 Hall of Famers on that defense. Rod Woodson, Donnie Shell, Troy Polamalu, Mel Blount, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, Ernie Stoutner, Joe Green, and Jack Butler. It's Butler for the tackle of Dez Bryant, who makes his first catch of the game.
But, you know, besides those 11, Nick, they don't have a whole lot. But then they have guys like Mika Fitzpatrick, you know, to work on that depth chart. So there are just playmakers all over this defense.
Yeah, T.J. Watt and James Harrison, no slouches either. 3rd and 8 over the middle to Pearson, who takes a hospital shot from Troy Polamalu.
Hospital ball served up there by Staubach, but Pearson taking it all for the glory, and that hit from Polamalu people don't tend to get up from. It looks like he's okay, but he earned every bit of that first down catch.
If you're going to win a Dream Bowl, you'll need to make plays like that. Emmitt Smith buried by James Harrison for a 2-yard loss. James Harrison is in the top 20 in tackles for loss in NFL history. Phenomenal player and a Super Bowl champion when he returned the Kurt Warner interception, 100 yards for a touchdown. Tony Dorsett gains 2. 3rd down coming up.
Absolutely, James Harrison, no stranger to heroic efforts in a Super Bowl. And while he might not be getting 100-yard pick sixes in this game, but there's still a whole quarter to play. Shutting down Emmitt Smith, just as impressive.
Dorsett in the game on 3rd and 10. Staubach to the end zone, and he is very fortunate. That's not a takeaway. Field goal coming up.
Absolutely. Mel Blount going for the Willie Mays over-the-shoulder catch, not quite able to reel it in as the Cowboys settle for 3.
Aubrey from 31, and the kick is good. Field goal fest tonight as Pittsburgh leads 16-9. Let's check out our quarterback numbers tonight. Neither have been all that impressive tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, Staubach actually has more passing yards. Ben with the higher completion percentage. Neither have gotten in the end zone. None of them have thrown an interception, despite both their best efforts on a few drop passes there in the secondary. So this has been the other phases of the game has carried us this far.
Roger Staubach beating out Troy Aikman for the starting job for Dallas. And Big Ben upending Terry Bradshaw, who did defeat Dallas in 2 of his 4 Super Bowl wins. But it is Roethlisberger for the #1 job. Woodson to the 20 with 21 seconds to go in the third quarter. Pittsburgh and Dallas, the 2 great franchises in the history of the National Football League. You knew it'd be a tight football game, but the Steelers are really controlling the clock and have played the better football game tonight. They'll close the third quarter with the pass of Roethlisberger. He finds Hines Ward for the gain of 3.
Absolutely. I mean, they're playing this game the way they should. They've been leading essentially from the start of this game. They know Dallas has to come from behind. They're going to do what they can to keep the chain moving without taking unnecessary risks.
And they'll do it in the fourth quarter of the Dream Bowl as they lead it 16-9. Welcome back to the Dream Bowl in Indianapolis. We are down to the final 8 minutes with the all-time Steelers in front 16-9. Nick Rice, Phil Nunziata, and on our sideline and halftime and post-game studios is Hank Cinnamon as we begin the final quarter of the Dream Bowl.
Here we go. Dallas only down 7 as Pittsburgh has the ball with the lead as they've had for pretty much all of this game. And a big third down here to keep the clock going as they can continue control of this game.
And they, it appears, will convert it with the first catch of the night from the other tight end on the field, Heath Miller. Indeed, he's got it. First down, Pittsburgh.
Just enough for that first down. And, you know, Heath Miller, we've talked about Jason Witten a lot today, and rightfully so with the game that he's been having. While we haven't seen it here today, Heath Miller's game very similar to a Jason Witten. Knows how to find those open pockets on the field. And it's kind of sneaky athletic, as you saw there, going the extra mile for that first down.
Roethlisberger incomplete. He joins 2-time Pro Bowler Eric Green as the 2 tight ends for this Pittsburgh offense. Jerome Bettis, or rather Franco Harris back in there on second down, joining Green and Miller. Inside run, Harris with a block. He's got no one in front of him, but is dragged down by Parsons at the 36. First down, Pittsburgh.
That is a back-breaking run there by Franco Harris. That's going to put him over 100 yards for the day. And there you see the parting seas just open from the center, blowing up the nose tackle, and he is off to the races. Franco Harris not known for his speed, so he is eventually tracked down. But that is a huge play for Pittsburgh.
Great blocking from David DeCastro, who's the pulling guard here. Bettis runs by Woodson and goes all the way for a Pittsburgh touchdown.
Talk about a 1-2 punch. You're able to get Franco Harris on the ground, and then you got to deal with Jerome Bettis right after it. And the bus just cranks it into high gear. Stiff arms Micah Parsons, no easy feat. He is off to the races and does not park until he's in the end zone.
Jerome Bettis also 12th on the all-time career touchdown runs list, playing with Pittsburgh from 1996 to 2005. As good as any 1-2 punch at running back in the National Football League. Jerome Bettis and Franco Harris. So look at the bus for the rushing touchdown.
Absolutely, and we're flirting with just under 200 yards total for this Pittsburgh offense. That's a marker they could absolutely reach by the end of this one, but this might be the moment that we realized it was out of reach for the Cowboys.
Jerome Bettis with that special moment, the former Notre Dame Nittany Lion with a Notre Dame Fighting Irish with a touchdown in his hometown of Detroit to win Super Bowl 40 in his final game, a touchdown to the Dream Bowl here. Back in Week 6, when the Cowboys played the Patriots, Dallas lost what would be their last road game of the season. They led 17-6, and then Brandon Merriweather, Tom Brady, Stanley Morgan, and the superstars of the Patriots mount to the comeback in Foxborough. Since then, the Cowboys have won 6 road games in a row, beating Philadelphia, Washington, Arizona, Tampa Bay, the New York Football Giants, and San Francisco last week. They've been road warriors, but are down by 14 here to the sideline for Witten, this time inbounds for the first.
Yeah, that was close, and even in real time, that looked like a first down, and the referee luckily right there, almost too close, man, get out of the way. And as you can see, both feet are down. Great job there by Jason Witten. We've had enough injuries tonight. We don't want to see an official go down either, but look at this game here by Jason Witten.
117 yards on 6 catches may just be overdoing the efforts of Andy Russell, the Steelers. Incomplete, second down coming up.
That definitely still seems to be. Now with these offensive performances by the running backs, I could see one of them getting that honor if this score holds. But if Dallas were to come back, I think it is a one-man show on who that MVP would be.
Staubach on second down. Deep shot intended for Witten, and Troy Polamalu has picked him off. It's his second interception in as many games. He had the return touchdown against the Raiders and a big return here.
That is, if the run wasn't backbreaking, this snaps it right in half. Troy Polamalu just playing center field out there. Staubach going to the one guy that's made plays for him all night, and he goes to him one too many times. Polamalu does what he does best and jumps the route. Huge interception there for Pittsburgh.
He joins guys like Ed Reed and Ronnie Lott in the conversation of the greatest safeties of all time. Polamalu playing center field on that play. Deep ball to Green, and that is incomplete. We've got another Cowboy defender down. That's the Hall of Famer from Maryland, Randy White.
Randy White, another heart and soul member of this defense. At least he's up and moving around here. Let's see if we can pinpoint the injury as he actually makes the hit on the quarterback, and he's the one that's slow to get up. You don't see that very often.
Randy White, third most sacks in NFL or in Cowboys history, 111, playing in the 70s and 80s for Big D. Roethlisberger's hit again, that time by DeMarcus Ware, incomplete.
DeMarcus Ware off the edge, one of the more modern Cowboys on this roster, especially on this defense, I would say. Never winning a Super Bowl with Dallas, did win one late in his career with the Denver Broncos, but would love to do it with a star on his helmet here tonight.
Third down, and they'll go run with Bettis, and there's DeMarcus Ware yet again, joining Mel Renfro for the tackle.
Big tackle in the backfield looking to get the ball back after that play there back-to-back by DeMarcus Ware and forcing the punt by Pittsburgh, deep in their territory.
Jordan Berry, greatest coffin corner punter in Pittsburgh history. He'll try and pin them deep here. An end-over-end kick to the 6, and it does take the favorable bounce. Tracked down by Edwards of the 2.
That's a thing of beauty. Pat McAfee is somewhere pumping his fist as that one is for the brand. One small bounce, and that thing dies right at the 2-yard line. A thing of beauty.
Undrafted, coming out of small school Eastern Kentucky, Jordan Berry played for a total of 6 seasons with Pittsburgh, and as mentioned, no one was better at the coffin corner ball than Jordan Berry in Steeler history. So Smith will line up at running back, but it's the first run of the day from Dom Perkins, one of the great runners in NFL history in the 1960s. First down, Dallas.
What Dallas has been doing largely hasn't worked. Let's try something new. Let's give it to the fullback, and he gets the first down. Gives him a little bit of breathing room here.
Perkins out of the game. In there is Terrell Owens, Drew Pearson, and Bob Hayes. Staubach going deep for Drew Pearson here, and he's got it. Polamalu getting turned around. First down, Dallas.
What an acrobatic catch there by Drew Pearson as he goes up for it and is able to turn his body, contort his body, and get both feet in bounds. As you said, Polamalu gets a little bit turned around, But that pirouette there in the middle of the air, Drew Pearson makes the snag, both feet down. They've had an issue with that today, but not on that one. That's a huge play for the Cowboys.
Drew Pearson leading the league in receiving back in 1977, helping join the likes of Roger Staubach and Tony Dorsett to win the Super Bowl that season over the Dolphins, one of the franchise's 5. Owens to set up 3rd down and 9. And for Dallas, we brought it up earlier in the game, 3rd downs have been a major issue all night.
Absolutely, and welcome to the Super Bowl, Mr. Owens. I believe that's his first catch on the day.
And he'll quickly take a seat on 3rd down and 9. And this pass is complete to Lamb, and they've got a 4th down, and you really have no options now. You've got to go for it.
You have to, and CeeDee Lamb making, I believe, his 2nd catch of the game, and he pays for this one, as I believe that was Mel Blount that just sniffs that one out and tattoos him there right in the flat.
And there was a man open downfield, but Lamb made the catch. Cowboys this season, one of the league's worst on 4th down, just 33%. And they've got 8 to go. Staubach's going to go for it all. Into the end zone for Bryant. Touchdown, Dallas Cowboys.
Well, you have to find someone that hasn't gotten to make a play yet today, and time is of the essence. So what a play right over the secondary, and Dez Bryant, of all people, in the back corner of the end zone. Dez caught it, and he puts the Cowboys closer to within reach.
The same year, he led the NFL in touchdown catches. He had the touchdown that was not against Green Bay, ruled an incomplete pass as he muffed it. No juggling the ball there, Phil. And we've got a 1-score game. Bryant in the end zone.
Absolutely. A 2nd catch of the day, and no bigger than that. The first offensive touchdown here for Dallas, and he has just enough time to launch that ball. And Troy Polamalu turned around a little bit. I guess he thought that ball was going to have a lower trajectory. You can look at it here, another great angle here by the camera crew. And he's just able to catch it about chest high, pulls it in. It's strange seeing him without that 88 on, but it counts all the same when they're in the end zone.
Michael Irvin wore the 88 for the all-time Cowboys until he herniated his disc against Philly. And it's Drew Pearson wearing 88, along with guys like Tony Hill, Terrell Owens, Bob Hayes, many great Hall of Famers, but it's Bryant to make it a 1-score game. And the Cowboys have dominated the Steelers in the second half.
They absolutely have. They've come back. This drive's going to be huge. They have all 3 timeouts, but we'll have to see how long they stay on the field and if they're just in chew clock mode with this carry.
We've got the 2-minute warning here on the Harris run. Hank Cinnamon, meanwhile, with an update on Hall of Famer Randy White. Hank?
Hey Nick, it's Hank back with another injury recap for Randy White. He will make his way back into the game. He had an abdominal strain. That will help the Cowboys out. Back to you, Nick and Phil.
Thanks, Hank. Yeah, anything short of a Deion Sanders broken back, and Randy White was not going to miss this game tonight. Jerome Bettis gets decleated by Chuck Howley. Timeout.
Yeah, absolutely. And Randy White, almost famously known for being the first guy to cross the picket line during the NFL strike in the early 90s. He loves his franchise, loves his team, and he was not going to miss the opportunity to continue to compete in this game.
And he's one of the 4 down linemen on 3rd and 6. Steelers are going to throw it here, and that was a disaster potentially. Incomplete.
Yeah, that was huge, and I think if they're able to pick up a 1st down on well, they'll probably punt this one away, but you want to go very deep on this one. It gets very interesting despite everything we've seen, the dominance by Pittsburgh. Looks like Dallas is going to get the ball back just down with 2 timeouts and down just 7.
Yeah, that incompletion stops the clock. Another big win for Dallas. Bob Hayes in there for the injured Deion Sanders. He'll bring it back to around the 42. Roger Staubach has taken complete control of this game since the interception to Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, check mark here for the Cowboys on the QB comparison. Roger Staubach has definitely done more for this team. He's kind of been let down by his run game, which is surprising based on who's back there. But he has just enough time to stay in this game.
That time incomplete. They called him Captain Comeback. Roger Staubach, notable for so many incredible fourth quarter and overtime game-winning drives. None more notable than when he found Drew Pearson against Minnesota in what some may say is a push-off, but many great fourth quarter moments for this quarterback. He fires to Terrell Owens. First down, Dallas.
Big catch, and almost more importantly, out of bounds too, to preserve those 2 touchdowns and 2 timeouts, excuse me. But yeah, great out route there. Troy Polamalu goes to jump it. He extended just a little bit, and he's able to get out of bounds.
Terrell Owens, third on the all-time NFL's receiving list, trailing only Jerry Rice and Larry Fitzgerald. He's the target of this pass from Staubach again, a gain of 8. A look at the numbers tonight. Hall of Famers everywhere. Jason Witten, Drew Pearson, Dez Bryant, Terrell Owens, Emmitt Smith, and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, you see the breakdown there, and that really just shows how Jason Witten kept the offensive production in this game for the good meat of it, I'd say the middle portion, and now other guys are starting to make plays.
Into the end zone. It's a jump ball to Hayes, who's been the worst receiver for the Cowboys tonight, which is a shock. He had been great all year. 7th-round pick, turned into a Hall of Famer, Olympic gold medalist for just how fast he was. Also, not just a great home run threat, but a great route runner. But it seems that sideline has been his biggest enemy in today's game. On 3rd and 2, Staubach fires a slant, and Owens has got a first down.
Great catch there by Owens. But yeah, to bring up Hayes, the sideline has been the issue. He's had both hands on a lot of these passes that he's not here called in. But there's one for him.
Hayes is able to stay in bounds on that play. Just his second grab of the game. The receivers on the field for the Cowboys tonight, it is incredible. The Hall of Fame talent that they have. Haven't heard much of CeeDee Lamb, who's one of the great 2020s receivers in the game. Staubach, meanwhile, no chance to get rid of it. A sack from Harrison, his second of the night.
Interesting here, they're not going to use the timeout. They're just going to no huddle. They're going to go wide, 4 wide here with the 1 running back, and Jason Witten in motion as the clock ticks.
They're going to go to Witten on 3rd and 11, and why not? First down, Dallas.
Using Jason Witten like a chess piece, moving him over, overloading that right side, and then he's opened up the seam, and now we'll see the spike ball, and we'll try to see this Cowboys offense operate in the red zone.
Jason Witten would be my Super Bowl MVP, especially if the Cowboys win the game. What say you, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, if they win, absolutely. It may be hard to oversee a Franco Harris or even a Jerome Bettis here if Pittsburgh's able to hold on. But if the Cowboys pull this one off, it's no question.
Staubach to the end zone for Owens. Touchdown, Dallas.
What a one-handed grab by Owens. He's been quiet all game. All 3 of his catches come here in the 4th quarter, and one no bigger than that. They're a PAT away from tying, and dare I say a 2-pointer away from taking the lead.
Terrell Owens played 15 years in the NFL, began in San Francisco, had a short stint in Philly, joined the Cowboys, and as in his first year led the NFL in touchdowns back in 2006, then capped his career with the Bills and the Bengals. Owens with 43 yards and a touchdown on 5 catches. A look at the game-time touchdown again from Staubach to Owens.
The last time Terrell Owens played in a Super Bowl, he was playing on a freshly broken leg. He's 100% today, and you can see it from one-handed grabs like that.
That caps off a 14-point Dallas comeback with 34 seconds remaining in regulation. Pittsburgh does have all 3 of their timeouts, and what a performance in the second half. The Cowboys have outgained the Steelers since halftime by over 150 yards. And as mentioned, not only the 3rd down woes have been fixed in a way by the Cowboys, but Roger Staubach has come alive. They'll go run. Jerome Bettis is dragged down, and the Steelers are not going to call a timeout. That'll do it in regulation. The Dream Bowl is going to overtime. 23-all in Lucas Oil Stadium. Overtime coming up next. Nick Rice, Phil Nunziata, and Hank Cinnamon in our halftime and post-game studios. Roger Staubach, who served in Vietnam after being drafted out of Navy late in the 1960s. He was named Captain Comeback for a reason. 21 game-winning drives, including the playoffs, 15 career fourth-quarter comebacks. He found Owens to force overtime in an incredible rally by Staubach and the Cowboys. Woods in the return, and let's look at the numbers tonight. He is dominating the quarterback competition in this game.
He absolutely is, and he has swung the momentum completely. The only thing that's helping the Steelers here is they will get the ball first. If they're able to score a touchdown on this drive, this game is over, but a field goal would give the ball back to Dallas.
Roethlisberger tucks it, his first positive run of the day. He gains 11 on the first down.
Roethlisberger emptying the clip here in overtime, and why not? Something I expected to see more of throughout the first 4 quarters of this game. There was at least 2 opportunities that he could have picked up big first downs with his legs and just chose to try to get into tight windows and such, so maybe he'll open it up a little bit here and lay it all on the line.
Roethlisberger, after a rollout, he'll lay it on the line here as he tucks it and has another first down. That Cowboys defense, with the injuries they have sustained tonight, no Deion Sanders, the pinched nerve from Leroy Jordan, the abdominal strain of Randy White, and they're giving up big runs from the quarterback.
And I mentioned not something they saw in the first 4 quarters, so they probably stopped thinking to account for the scrambling quarterback, and that's 20-ish yards there on 2 carries, and we'll see if they're going to have to account for that more and leave somebody open.
To the sideline, that is out of bounds for Stallworth. Nearly a big completion on that play.
Absolutely, that one's out of bounds, doing his best Bob Hayes impression from earlier in the day, not able to keep both feet in bounds, and that brings up 2nd down and 10.
Roethlisberger, he's looking deep again, launches into coverage, and Cliff Harris, Captain Crash, was all over that one. It's incomplete. A showdown of the 2 greatest franchises in NFL history. Combined 11 Super Bowls, 37 Hall of Famers, and 74 first-team All-Pro players. Somebody's got to win this game as we are live in overtime in the Dream Bowl in Indy. Roethlisberger with the short pass, and Brown dropped it. Incomplete.
Well, this drive started very promisingly with 2 runs by Big Ben, and then he kind of reverted back to his old. That one's just right off the fingertips of Antonio Brown. Nothing else you can say about that one. But this drive really stalls right at midfield. We do have one of the best coffin corner kick punters of all time. He already dropped one at the 2 earlier today. We'll see if he can pull it off again.
Hayes will let this one go, and this time he gets a bad bounce. And Dallas, in a fresh new game, next score wins, will take over at their own 20.
Yeah, it is all momentum for Dallas now. Any kind of points. We've already seen several field goals here by the Cowboys. And if they can get in field goal range, it is all at the foot of Aubrey.
First down. Staubach looks, throws, and he's intercepted by Jack Ham of the 25. Ham with the quarterback to beat, and he beat him. And the Dream Bowl is won on a pick 6 from linebacker Jack Ham. We mentioned Penn State legends Franco Harris with big plays. How about Jack Ham to win it?
It's got to be the most Pittsburgh Steelers way to ever win a Super Bowl. Jack Ham there. Call him a corner because he's jumping routes and stiff-arming quarterbacks. And the Pittsburgh Steelers get the title of the greatest team of all time.
It's over. The ultimate NFL victory is all theirs. They are Super Bowl champions. What an incredible effort to cap an incredible season. All year long, they believed in themselves, and each victory not only defied doubters, it exhilarated their fans, and now no one can question their success as they've risen all the way to the top to be the bearers of the Lombardi Trophy. Pop the champagne and ready the parade. This team is going home as the cream of the entire NFL crop, standing tall as number 1. What a moment for every single one of these men who have dreamed from the very first time they put on a helmet what it would be like to live this moment. The sound of the final whistle, a declaration of victory, while fireworks bellow high in the night sky around them. This moment, witnessed by the world, when they can truly call themselves Super Bowl champions. This game's big plays and magical moments are now part of NFL lore. to be replayed over and over again. A highlight reel of charged memories that show that this team was capable of taking hold of this moment, capable of becoming historic. And on the other sideline, the creep of doubt and second guessing brought on by heartbreak, that they came within one win of immortality, only to see the stars had written a different script, one in which their daydreams of victory were dashed. What a feeling for these players, an ongoing sense of accomplishment they'll carry with them their entire lives. It's a win that has eluded so many superstars who have tried, and these men now know it is a gift to rise to the top, to exist even for a second at such a rare height. A bond has been formed that can never be broken, and the spoils are immeasurable.
Welcome back to Indianapolis. Nick Rice, Phil Nunziata, and Hank Cinnamon. Before we go to Hank for the post-game wrap-up, Phil, it was a great game, but as a whole, when you look at these two franchises, it's hard to imagine any two any better than these two. And for Pittsburgh, they are deserving champions considering their rich history and all of the Hall of Fame players on that franchise's roster.
Absolutely. This is going to go down as one of the greatest Super Bowls and Dream Bowls of all time, but it definitely didn't start that way. It looked like Pittsburgh was going to run away with this one. Dallas scratched and clawed and really just came alive in the fourth quarter. Looked like everything was going their way when the Steelers stall on their first drive in overtime, and then it took a steel curtain turnover for touchdown, and that was all it took to crown them champions.
Jerome Bettis, number 36, with a 36-yard rushing touchdown, and Pittsburgh led by a score of 23-9. Then Troy Polamalu picked off Roger Staubach with about 5 minutes to go, and you were thinking, this one's in the books. But the comeback was the stuff of legend, and then the Super Bowl or the Dream Bowl MVP award was given to Jack Ham, who did not do much at all in regulation, but it's hard to argue the pick six really single-handedly should give you that award, considering the big moment that he made the interception in.
Yeah, for a while there, it looked like Russell was going to run away with that one, and really, history, or the winner gets to write the history. So, with Jack Ham, that play will be etched in history forever. Everything else wouldn't have mattered if the Cowboys go down the field and score there. So I totally see that thought process. Some people might not be happy about it, but I think it's very well deserved.
For Hank Cinnamon and Phil Nunziata, I'm Nick Rice. So long from Indianapolis as one of the great Dream Bowls in the history of this league comes to a close in overtime. Pittsburgh wins it and is the greatest franchise in NFL history. The final score, 29-23, Steelers.
Hello everybody, this is Hank with the Dream Bowl game recap show. In a Dream Bowl between the all-time great Steelers and the all-time great Cowboys. This was all Steelers for most of this game. Troy Polamalu intercepting Captain America Roger Staubach. But the Cowboys would inch their way back into this one. Staubach to Drew Pearson. And then Staubach deep down the left side to the X Factor, Dez Bryant. To put the Cowboys down by 7 late in the fourth quarter. Hank's hero Jason Witten would catch the ball to the 10. And then Staubach gives the ball to Terrell Owens for the touchdown to tie this game. We went to overtime. The Cowboys got the ball first, and Roger Staubach made a huge mistake. Some people like Thanksgiving turkey. I like holiday ham. Jack Ham of the Pittsburgh Steelers finds his way with the pick six to ice this game for the all-time great Pittsburgh Steelers, winning themselves yet another Dream Bowl championship in the DSFL. What a horrible way to end this one for the Cowboys, but the Steelers capitalize. They win this game 29-23. Staubach had a big passing day, but he couldn't control the turnovers. This is Hank with the recap show for the Dream Bowl. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching Dream Bowl 8. It was a thrill to do this with some of the original members of the Dream Season Football League, Phil Nunziata and Hank Zinnemann. Their work over the years have been absolutely incredible. I thank all the fans for being a part of this incredible journey. It's been a lot of fun. We had a new addition, Danny DeBach, to our broadcast team recently, and he has been an outstanding addition, and you'll catch his full game with Connor Focusano of Dream Bowl 8 tomorrow. Join the alternate broadcast tomorrow morning right here on the channel. What is the final Dream Bowl? We'll have more content of other fun stuff in the NFL, college football, and the NBA as well on this channel. But for now, the Dream season will come to a close with one of the great games ever. Dream Bowl 8 in the books, Steelers winning in overtime.